This month, we received lots of questions through our anonymous form. Thank you. Dear Maasi will answer 2 interrelated questions for February's column about the clitoral hood and sexual pleasure. Please note that if you go to our online column, you can find live links for diagrams and other resources. Here's the first question. Dear Maasi, can you please send us links to see how a circumcision is actually done? What part is snipped, the hood or half of the clitoris? Anonymous. Dear Anonymous, Khatna, aka female circumcision, aka type 1 FGMC, involves cutting the clitoral hood. Other types involve cutting or doing harm to other parts of the genitalia. However, there isn't standardization because 1, each body is different, 2, most khatnas are done by amateur cutters, and 3, khatna often happens under duress. Think about how precise a cut would be if the child squirms or resists. I've heard of survivors who have scars on their hood, no hood at all, or a partial hood. Some khatna survivors report that the nub of the clitoris was cut. You can find out more about the parts of the clitoris by going to the column online. The best way to understand what parts of your genitals were cut is to use a hand mirror to have a good look. If it's hard to see, you might ask a trusted medical professional, partner, or family member to describe what they see. For example, under bright lights, my gynecologist was able to detect a thin scar on my hood. But do keep in mind that some survivors have no detectable scars at all. Maasi. And here's our second question. Dear Maasi, it is said that khatna increases the sensuality of the clitoris, and it directly affects the sexual appetite of the female subject in a positive way. How true is this? How does FGC impact pleasure and orgasm? Anonymous. Dear Anonymous, I have heard pro-khatna advocates sharing the opinion, or shall I say myth, that a cut to the clitoral hood improves pleasure and orgasm. Some survivors have said that khatna has no impact on their pleasure. I haven't heard of anyone who thinks that khatna improved their sex life, but I wouldn't argue with them if they felt this way. Psychosexual functioning is very individual and impacted by physical and emotional factors, including trauma. And for many survivors, khatna was a sexual trauma. Sexual trauma can impact a survivor's ability to trust and to experience sexual comfort and pleasure. On the online column, I've listed 2 studies, one done by Sahiyo and one done by We Speak Out, where 33 to 35% of the respondents reported that FGC had affected their sex life and in a negative way. The clitoral hood has an important function. It protects the sensitive clitoral tissue from overstimulation and irritation. There are also glands in your clitoral hood that produce a lubricant that helps the clitoral hood move smoothly over your clitoris. Globally, one of the main arguments for FGMC is to control sexuality. In recent years, those who resist the End FGMC movement have come up with all kinds of arguments about why it is good for girls and women. I'll bet this increased pleasure argument is one such fiction. And that's it for me, Maasi.